The AR carbine is ubiquitous today. Truly, this is America's rifle. People use them for hunting, they use them for personal protection, and of course they use them in tactical competition. Now the rifle itself is pretty capable with iron sights, but what accessories do you need? And that's what we're here to determine at the Peacemaker National Training Center in West Virginia. Really one of the nicest facilities of its kind in the entire nation. And we're going to try suppressors, optical sights, and of course it's dark half the time, so we're going to look at white light and of course night vision.
So today we are exploring some new technologies and learning about light and how we can deal with different lighting situations. I just shot a stage where there was various targets hidden among the woods, and this is kind of the baseline during the day. We're going to shoot it with different types of optics and different types of sights, irons, red dots, and also variable power scopes. And then we're going to do the same thing at night and see what challenges we face and what solutions we can come up with to deal with those challenges.
I commonly refer to this as like a jungle run, you know, and it's nice because targets are blending in the scenery. They're just not standing out in the open, and I think this is helpful for more realistic type training.
I find that the optic helps if I dial it down to like 1.5 or 2 to give me more contrast. And on the longer range target, definitely magnification helps.
The engagements that I've taken with this system right here at multiple distances has varied anywhere from 5 yards to 900 yards. And that's what makes this platform so ideal in my mind. We can do CQB and turn around and do some long shots across open, vast areas.
During the stage here in the woods at Peacemaker National Training Center, we learned some things about sighting systems. During bright light, iron sights like these magpoles work just fine. But once the conditions changed and the targets were more difficult to see, and these were camouflage targets, something you typically don't see in, say, a practical rifle match. So they were a little more difficult to pick up, and that's where some of the other optics came in. In particular, low magnification rifle scopes did very well. Now the shooters would move down this trail, engaging targets as they saw them, and sometimes the targets had to be pointed out to the shooters. But once they got down to the end, there were 2 steel plates that had some distance on them, and that's the time when a low magnification rifle scope that you can crank it up really proves its worth.
Shooting the first stage with iron sights, I had the advantage that it was simple. It was just the irons, and being from a military background, I'm familiar with the sight picture and coming up with that. But adding an optic such as the aim point to the mix made target engagements faster, a little more accurate, since I didn't have to focus so much on the sight alignment. I bring the rifle up, I see the red dot, put it on the target, and I'm good to go. So the optics definitely gave me advantage not only in accuracy, but in speed.
So the benefits of using a suppressor on a carbine, primarily it's safety. That's the #1 thing. You know, if it's bump in the night situation, you're grabbing that bedside gun, and you might have to, you know, unfortunately have to pull the trigger on that inside your house, and you have loved ones sleeping maybe feet away. You want to protect not only your hearing, but their hearing as well. Obviously, hearing is a permanent loss. So every time that occurs, you know, you're not going to be gaining back quite as good as it was before, especially if it's in close quarters inside a house. So that's going to be the primary reason it's going to protect your hearing and allow you to have additional situational awareness after that engagement. Every suppressor that we make is test fired at the factory, and that ensures the quality that the customer is getting. We have extremely minimal impact shift, which means when you put the suppressor on the gun, the difference from where it was hitting when it was unsuppressed to where it was hitting when it was suppressed is very different. It can be no more than 1 MOA at 100 yards, or else it's not going to pass our QC. Additionally, that impact shift is completely repeatable. And so those are, you know, a couple of the little things that really make us different from the rest of our manufacturers. Most manufacturers batch test their suppressors, and we don't. Additionally, flash suppression. We have the best first-round flash suppression from our suppressors on the market.
Being out of the military and shooting competitively with an AR-15, it's really opened my eyes to what's available for the AR-15 to increase its accuracy, reliability, and its utility overall. I can take a carbine such as this one here, from BCM, outfitted with an elongated rail, with an optic, iron sights, and I can go and do a variety of tasks from engaging long-range steel if I drop a 1-4 on it, to going and shooting targets that are real close.
The AR platform's extremely versatile. I find that aside from competition use where I can go from short distance, dynamic, 2-gun, 3-gun, we use it in DMR matches, which are precision type matches, and we can go out to 750, 800 yards with it with proper ammunition. And for home defense purposes, the ballistics of it are quite ideal for confined spaces.
The stage we just shot here, shot with the BCM carbine and aim point optic. It was a challenging stage. We had multiple targets to engage, both paper and steel. We had to have accuracy to engage the steel targets, which were quite small, and also to engage only the head zones of 2 of the targets. So we had to focus on not only accuracy but speed. We had to keep moving, or it was ideal to keep moving while you were shooting. So it was a very challenging stage. It was a good stage to learn the tactics of shooting and moving.
Well, armed citizens and other, Americans can basically get the ability to see in the dark with night vision. I know that sounds really rudimentary, but when you break it down, that's pretty much what it is. It allows you to see in the dark without being seen. So whereas flashlights can give you a lot of visual capability, you're broadcasting where you are and what you're doing to everybody else. So what I have right here, this is a PVS-14. This is actually the TNV PVS-14. It is the standard issue night vision goggle for U.S. military forces. It is a monocular system, a Gen 3 device, so it's going to go over one eye, and it's going to leave one eye unaided, which means that you're going to have something naturally adapted to the dark, which is a big plus when you get into some areas that are maybe a little bit more lit. But essentially, night vision is an image intensification device. It's going to take the existing ambient light and it's going to amplify it quite a bit to the point that you're going to be able to see, hundreds or if not thousands of times more than what you would in pitch black. So night vision basically is going to be able to see infrared energy, such as that of an infrared laser. So the night vision goggle that you're going to keep on your head is essentially going to be an observation tool only, but the laser is how you aim. And the laser is an infrared laser system. This is a Steiner D-Ball A3. These are also available to armed citizens. Essentially this goes on the gun, you zero it the same as you would a regular optic, and the laser beam that comes out of this is invisible to the naked eye, but you see it plain as day with night vision. It's almost like a lightsaber coming out of your gun. Each of these systems is going to be slightly different, but at TNVC, one of the things that we specialize in is getting the highest spec tubes possible. All the tubes that we use in our systems are going to be exceeding mil spec. They're going to be from one of the 2 U.S. manufacturers of image intensifier tubes, and the housings are all the same mil spec housings that you're going to get if you were, issued this as a warfighter.
The whole point of this exercise has been to test the capability of the carbine. Of course, during daylight with iron sights, you're just fine. But once conditions change, things like a red dot are very useful. A suppressor, of course, is useful. It protects your hearing. It's a safety issue. And of course, a white light is a tool that you probably should look at for your carbine. But really, if you're going to make 24/7 defense part of your priority, you really need to look at night vision.